Excuse me. It finally happened. It finally happened. The trade deadline is over. Hats off to this guy. Welcome back, Steeler Nation, to Steelers Nation Australia. I forgot to take my hat off. Hats off to Omar Khan. All right, okay. Let's talk about this. I'm the last guy not in America. I'm from Australia. I'm the last guy on YouTube pretty much talking about this because this was released about 3 or 4 hours ago or, 2 hours ago, whatever it may be. 15 hours in front, 9 hours behind the news cycle. I miss everything. I woke up one time and I saw Debo traded to the New England Patriots. I was like, what? How? How does that happen? I miss it all. When I go to sleep, you guys have your American day. I know it's a really big day too over in America with all the voting and stuff like that. I won't touch on that, but I know it's a massive day in terms of a lot of things happening. So it's all kind of crazy, and the trade deadline has now finished, and the Steelers have addressed some needs, or at least depth. I think a receiver need, defensive line need, outside linebacker need. They've improved two areas of depth. So the Steelers have added these two players, Preston Smith from Green Bay and Mike Williams from the New York Jets, who was a former Charger. Now, first of all, with Mike Williams, they've acquired Mike Williams from the New York Jets for a 2025 fifth overall round pick. And also, Preston Smith they've acquired from the Packers for a 2025 seventh round pick, pending a physical. And they've released tight end Rodney Williams from the active roster, waived receiver Andy Isabella, and linebacker Craig Young from the practice squad. There could be a possibility too. I read another tweet saying that Rodney Williams might be added back to the squad if he's not picked up by waivers by another team. So shout out to Rodney Williams. He's been a good teamer, and he's been playing for the Steelers like 2 or 3 years, but he's always on the bubble of being cut and coming back all the time. So Steelers add these two players, Preston Smith and Mike Williams. Let's find out a little bit more about them. So in terms of Mike Williams, he was a 2017 round 1 pick 7 by the Chargers. He's played there, I think it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years with the Chargers and 1 year with the New York Jets. So he is a very qualified and veteran receiver. He has over 321 receptions, 533 targets, 4,972 yards, average 15.5, TDs 31, longest 72, first downs 227. So the Steelers finally solved that receiver 2, or at least bring in receiver depth. Want to give a big shout out to Steeler Nation, and I want you guys, if you were always talking about receiver 2, this is your chance to now support this bloke, go buy his jersey, welcome him to the Steel City, do all those kind of just welcome him as a Steeler. You want a receiver too? Omar Khan said you got it. Go and support him. I don't care if he was the one you wanted, if you wanted Adam Thielen, if you wanted DK Metcalf, if you wanted somebody else. They have now addressed that need, the receiver too, and got some quality depth there. You now have Pickens, Van Jefferson, Austin, Mike Williams, and Scotty Miller are like your 5 receivers. And they, depending what they do on game day, they may not even play Scotty Miller anymore. So he might not be cut, but he might not get a hat on game day. So go and support Mike Williams to be your receiver too, or part of the receiving rotation. Of course, as well, this will take time for him to learn the offense and get well adjusted with Russell Wilson. So you might not see him play versus the Commanders, but he'll definitely have a role going in the season because Omar Khan, this bloke, hats off to him, is making moves. Now, the other guy we want to talk about is Preston Smith. He was a former Washington, I think, football team or Redskin in 2015. Not even sure when that was. So round 2 pick for the Washington Redskins, I think in 2015, or football team, whatever they were called back then. Then he went on to be a Green Bay Packer in 2019. So he's been playing for, I think, 10 years. 10 years, 155 games, 429 tackles, 160 assisted, 68.5 sacks, forced fumbles 11, forced fumbles recovery 5, interceptions 5. That's fantastic. As an outside linebacker or defensive end, that's awesome. and he has 0 TDs. He has pass deflection 27, stuff yard, which is like, running behind the line of scrimmage or tackles for a loss, is 43.5. So, or stuff yard tackles, right? He's up there. This guy is a veteran. Now, this is one of the moves I don't think the Steeler fan base was that clued in on was going to happen. Maybe a bit of a surprise. Everybody was really consumed around the receiver too, and that's all we talked about really off season and regular season was receiver two. Now, what he might do in this defense, of course, you have superstar, all pro, future Hall of Famer TJ Watt on one side. On the other side, you have Alex Highsmith, who's having a pretty good year too, but he did get injured at one point, and then Nick Herbig came in. Then he got injured. So this is just really quality depth at that position, and they might rotate the fellas in and out. And they're going to play some tough football coming up, and that's AFC North football. So adding Smith is going to be a physical player, and TJ Watt on one side, Highsmith, when they get tired or when they want to come out of the game, boom, you put in Smith and my apologies. Yeah, Smith and Highsmith, or you put in Smith and Herbig together. So it's another key piece where the Steelers aren't mucking around this year, and they're going after the Super Bowl. They got veteran Russ Wilson now at the quarterback position being QB1, and they're thinking, all right, Omar Khan's making moves, and a lot of fans are like, oh, this bloke here, he's sitting on his hands. He's not sitting on his hands. Trust Omar Khan, trust the organization and the coaching staff for them being 6-2. They just made a move to go and get a receiver, a playmaker, to go down the field with Pickens to maybe, free up some space for Austin to get around, or free up some space for Najee. And you got two blokes now that George Pickens and Mike Williams can both go down the field, and Russell Wilson throwing the moon ball, deep passes. This offense is going to be on fire. And then on the other side, Preston Smith comes to a good organization that is 6-2, that wants to play physical defense, and he's hitting players as hard as he can, and he's in the rotation behind Highsmith, TJ Watt, and Herbig when everyone's really healthy. I did see one tweet that he kind of might play that DeMarvin Leal role because he's also on the injured reserve, and he was like out about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. So it wasn't the move I think Steelers fans expected, but for him to be a Pittsburgh Steeler now and a 10-year veteran, it's a good move. Our defense just got even better. As long as we stay healthy at like key positions at safety, Elliott's playing good, Minka's playing awesome, middle linebackers with Queen. These guys are stepping up. Cameron Haywood. Now you have Ogunjobi, and you have the outside linebackers and TJ Watt and the new bloke Smith and Highsmith. Like, this is a fun defense. I'm all for it. And next year, they only gave away a 7th and a 5th rounder. Omar Khan can always make moves and get those kind of picks back or whatever it may be. But at the time, we're talking about this season. We're 6-2. We're going to go on versus Commanders coming up very shortly. Later on today, I'll be doing a live with Bubba and Shane giving out H2U awards. We might be giving out three big awards, or like I'm going to give out like 10 points, 5 points, 3 points to add to a tally, and talk about like who are the top 3 best players on the team right now, and going into the next half of the gauntlet, the scary gauntlet. And also we'll make commentary on the 2 new players added. But for people saying that Omar Khan wasn't doing anything, he was sitting on his hands, just watch and wait. Like, I think Steel fans just need to be patient. Be very patient. I think people in a society now is like instant react. It's just as soon as you see the red notification go off, you're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Like, we have to just be patient. And that is waiting for things to play out. The Steelers get their receiver, and they also improve their defense in that sense, in rotation. And when TJ Watt gets a bit tired or Highsmith gets tired, you got another guy who's played the position for 10 years, and a guy with Herbig who has a lot of energy, being a second-year player. I think he's a second-year player, and hitting into his role too. So it's a fun defense, and we're not going to allow too many points. And we're going to run the ball with Najee, and Russ Wilson has now got like his offense ready to go, and his defense to back him up. So big moves. Summarization. Preston Smith and Mike Williams, welcome to the Steel City. Mike Williams for a 5th round in 2025, and also Preston Smith for a 7th round in 2025. So thank you, Steeler Nation, for checking out Steeler Nation Australia. I'll be back in about, I think, 3 or 4 hours' time for the live show with the HDU Awards. Trust Omar Khan. Do not fret. Trust Omar Khan. Trust this bloke. I'll see you guys later.